first time I ever saw myself in the mirror. And that's when the journey of recovery started. And that was when I that's when I took my life back. And that's when I said, there's been a lot of times that I've said this, and that's when I said I'm going to do this for Jay. And I started doing it for Jay, and Jay started healing, and Jay started changing, and Jay started growing, and Jay started being a different person, and Jay started hanging, people, places, and things changed, and Jay started believing in himself, right? And that was probably the first time I got my voice back and my power, and I think I can be somebody. I just got to learn who I am, and when I gotta heal from all this damage. The damaged goods need to be healed, and
yes,
and I gotta get out of my own way, and I got to let go of control, and I gotta just believe. I just gotta believe, and and that served me well. That served me well for the better part of 3 years until I got bored. I got bored of doing that at 3 years. And at this point, at 3 years, I had already, I branded myself. I was calling myself the recovering chef. Then my pastry chef said, "Why don't you call yourself Chef Recovery?" And I'm like, "Whoa, chef in recovery. I can brand that. Whoa." So then, yeah, boom, moment.
yeah.
Boom, holy cow. Oh, wait a second. I got a story here, and the chef and the food industry and that stuff really suffers with this. And I could take this all across the country, and I can do this. And then I started getting bored. I started getting bored. I used the excuse of being bored, right? I don't think that I truly accepted the life that I was about to live, which was clean.
That you committed to, yeah.
Right. And so I got myself back into legal activity. I got myself back. I never used or drank because that's not what I wanted to do. It was always about the money, right? It was always about the money. And, fell into that cycle for like a good year. I was on my second fiance at the time. And, I took a free trip to the Turks and Caicos. I said no on the beach and all these things, like, because my mind was dysfunctional. I wasn't being that recovering guy. It all of a sudden became about me again. And then I came back and stuff really hit the fan, and she wouldn't leave me though, because she was really Christian and her family was really Christian. So it was really like you stick it out and hopefully the person changes. And I came to a point of first time wanting to commit suicide and killing myself at like 4.5, 5 years, clean and sober, going, why am I doing this? What do I got? This is not right. Like, I want my old life back. Like that's what I want. I want my old life back, but I want to be that guy that I was at 4 or 5 months. And some, I want my old life back, but I want to be that guy at 5 and 6 months clean and sober. Can I be that guy at 5 and 6 months clean and sober and have my old life back? Please, God, like, please. I'm not asking much, just that, and I'll be okay. And well, that didn't really work. So, I ended up getting addicted to the casino to kill the pain, right? Because I didn't want to go to drinking and using drugs. Like, I'd already been doing some illegal activity, so I got that kind of thing out of that. But I didn't want to drink because I knew where that would take me. So I was like, let's go to the casino. Well, I started going to the casino, won $70,000 over the course of a couple months. Walking down the street, bought a condo for me and this girl that I just said no to on the beach. And, ended up getting addicted to the casino, and I racked up my credit cards, lost $68,000 in the next 3 or 4 months, and hit a rock bottom on something that took me even faster than the drugs and alcohol took me, which was the casino. And I ended up going to Fort McMurray and becoming a chef in Fort McMurray. My family was there, started at Syncrude. Then I took a transfer to Keano College. And then that's when Chef Recovery really grew. I replanted the seeds back into recovery. I re-got the voice again. I re-got the belief in myself again. I re-got all that stuff again. And I started attracting all this media. Like, who's this guy, Chef Recovery, talking about a story and talking about this and talking about that? And, you know, you're in oil country, you know, you're strong. You don't talk about that stuff. No, all that stuff. Right here I am sharing about it. And we got all these celebrities coming, William Shatner and Mark Messier, and we're getting all the events. I'm getting all the events. And then all these celebrities are like, we want Chef Recovery to cook our food for us. And I was like, wow, what is going on? Like, I was just like at a rock bottom, ready to kill myself. All of a sudden, God, I ask you can you give me this life and this life, but you won't give me those two lives because you just want me to have this life. Okay, I'm accepting this life again. Now you give me this. Like, I don't deserve any of this. And you know, I was just sharing on the Recovery Couple, and I've been sharing this for like about 7 weeks now. You know, I never ever said I was proud of myself of any of my accomplishments in recovery until about 7 or 8 weeks ago. I never once sat and relished in the fact of all the things that I've ever done. And, you know, a broken down crackhead, alcoholic, guy that tried taking his life back-to-back times is now, you know, catering for William Shatner, should look at himself in the mirror and say, dude, I'm proud of you. And I couldn't even do it, bro. I couldn't even do it. I didn't even do it because I had to hop to the next thing. And yeah, from Fort McMurray, I moved to Kenora. I met my ex, and that's where my beautiful daughter Destiny came from. And I opened up a restaurant called the Boathouse, and I ended up getting fired 2 weeks before Christmas and 2 weeks after having Destiny. And that was another moment of, what am I doing? I had to pick myself back up, and that's where Freshwater Cuisine was born. My fish business, which is going to be celebrating 5 years on February 9th, which is insane because nobody believed I could do it. Nobody believed I could do it, but I believed. I believed, right? Even in the midst of the fire, and even in the midst of everything, and you know, even in 2017. We were nominated 1 in 5 top businesses in all of Ontario for a leader in innovation in all of Ontario. Flown down to Toronto with the government, and the award was presented by Kathleen Wynne, who was the premier at the time, and they gave us $25,000 for it as well as the award. And still, I went back to the room. I did a live. I put on the mask. I did the show, and I couldn't say, Jay, I'm proud of you. I couldn't say it. I didn't know how to say it. I didn't know how to be it. I didn't know how to feel it. And you know, even just thinking about my 10 years, I shared about this the other night too. Mm-hmm. My 10 years of being clean and sober, I get flown back to Ottawa to speak for the Hope in the City and the Salvation Army. You know, keynote speaker, going back to Ottawa where I got clean and sober, you know, at the Shaw Center, packed building, sharing my story, getting into the emotions, getting into the realism, and just pouring it out. And all these people coming up afterwards, and all the media, and I'm doing all these things, and I get back to the hotel room, and I'm like, you're not worthy. You're not worth this. You had a crappy message. Nobody's going to get anything out of you. You know, here I am, 10 years. And I can't even look in the mirror and say, Jay, I'm proud of you. I can't even say it.
No, I definitely get it.
Yeah. You know, you talk about anxiety and depression, and that's what had the riddle on me. The anxiety and the depression had me, it was something that I wouldn't let go. I wouldn't let go. And it drove me to that to that unworthy place, drove me to that you're not enough place, drove me to that you're not going to be somebody when you are somebody. It drove me to that, you know, you're never going to be in love. It drove me to nobody's going to love you. You know, all those things that the committee inside your head that rents your hotel rooms tells you, right? Because when you got a 24 hotel room up there and there's 48 people and they're telling you what to do, because like that's what happens.
Yeah.
It's like, it's insane, you know. And you know, I go through a separation 3 years ago, and you know, it's like about a year ago, I look at my daughter and I don't feel love anymore. And this is the depression talking to me. And I'm just like, that's it. I'm done. I'm done. I'm going to do myself in this time. And the same thing again. I go and where I went, the dam wasn't on. All of a sudden, the dam just bam, and water just came flooding out and shook me out of what I was going to do. And I went and talked to my counselor and made it through that. And so truly, the journey, and I think Ashley can come in now, is when Ashley and I truly met, and how both our backs were against the wall because we just didn't know what love was, right? Like,
Yeah.
we
You
really
had
didn't
to
know.
learn it.
Yeah, we were just so broken, and here I am, 12 years clean and sober, and I'm more broken than I could have been ever broken. And here she is, 5 months, and coming off her, she tried getting clean and sober, once before.
I did, yeah.
And
I relapsed, yeah.
Yeah, why don't you share about that a little bit?
That was not, oh gosh. So I my journey started probably, I don't know, 3 years ago. 3 years ago, I went to treatment. Finally, by this point, I had lost my children. They were, I'm so grateful that I have people in my life that made those hard decisions for me, right? When I couldn't make those decisions, I was so far gone in my addiction that I couldn't, I'm so happy that my kids were not there to see the worst of the worst, but they were there to see a lot. My daughters, today I have a beautiful relationship, the best relationship with both my girls now. But it's taken a lot of work. But they were taken from me. They were saved from me, I should say. I can't say they're taken. It needed to happen. And so I was in a ditch. Literally, I fell into a ditch. It broke my ankle. I'm laying in a ditch higher than a kite, and I don't even know how long I was there for. I couldn't even get up for hours. I don't even know how I got home. Somebody took me home. I have no idea how I got there anyway. So my it was at that time, and I'm like, okay, okay, I need some help, right? So anyway, so I went to treatment, and I honestly, when I went to treatment, it was a 28-day program. I honestly, I couldn't admit I was an alcoholic, for one. I admitted I was an addict. I had no problem admitting I was an addict. I could not admit I was an alcoholic. And that too was just, I wasn't ready to let go of that relationship, right? That was my first relationship with any kind of substance, was alcohol. So at 90 days clean and sober, I was going to drink about it. I drank about it, right? Because I'm like, okay, I'm not going to use, I'm just going to drink, and the downward spiral. And, I kept it together for a while. Like I really did keep it for a while. I didn't use as hard as I used to, I was kind of keeping it on the down low, but it really wasn't. I thought I was, but everybody knew, and my life was starting to become unmanageable again and chaotic and insane. And, I had just started to try to build a relationship with my kids again. And then, back at work, and like, it was just, I could totally see where I was going. And it was, if I didn't make a change in my life, for me this time, right? Because when I went to treatment, I could have my kids back. I could have my life back. I didn't do it for me. I did it for every other reason but me, because I didn't think I was worth it, and so, so I relapsed. And then, this time, since I've been clean and sober, it was actually somebody else's relapse I witnessed and I was a part of, in a sense. I didn't relapse, but I saw them relapsed, and I'm like, I can't keep living this way. And that was my moment of clarity, when I knew that I'm either going to make a change now and I'm going to do it, or I'm going to die eventually, right? Because that's, maybe not right away, but that is what's going to happen. I'm going to die. So I just made that conscious, that moment. I'm like, okay, that was my moment of clarity. And I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah, I'm proud of you. It's proud of both of y'all, to be honest. It's very difficult to okay, like, all right, one and done. Like, oh, like, it took me years to really, like, all right, I'm gonna stop drinking. I'll do it for like 5 months, 6 months, and then start drinking again. Like, oh no, I'm gonna cut it out. I'm cut it out. And I kept relapsing. Even with my depression, I kept going back and forth, right? Like, do I want to live? Do I don't want to live? And for somebody who's listening to this, they probably think like, why? Like, you should always want to live. When you're in those dark moments, and as you said, like that 24-hour, the demons that's going in your head, you don't realize, like you feel like they have the power. And then like what Ashley said was like, hey, no, I'm doing everything for everyone else. Let me actually do this for me. And then once you start doing it for you, you start seeing the transformation in you, right? Like I really started sharing my story with the world probably about a year ago, right? And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to share my story because I kept trying to like find people talking about like mental health and suicide. And I wanted them to not necessarily look like me, but at least be like near my age. And I kept finding like older white women I couldn't relate to, right? It was like, okay, like it's the language barrier that I said, like the way she's talking is not the way I would talk, right? And I was just like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to start sharing my story. And then slowly but surely, like obviously the pandemic starts and everybody's on their phone because we can't go anywhere. And I started connecting with people that was like-minded, right? The energy, like as Jay said, like, wait, once you started changing, you get the right people with you. You get that connection, that support. And then when I started getting DMs from the counselors and the therapists and the psychiatrists, I'm just like, oh, you're DMing me, like, hey man, we love what you're doing, because like I had no expectations. Like with life, if you have expectations, I feel like when you have them, sometimes they may hit it or they may not. So I just like go with zero expectations, and then getting that, hey, what school are you in type of messages. I'm like, I'm not, I'm just using techniques that saved my life. That was basic. And then they started sharing tips, and it's just wonderful once you realize like, man, I'm doing this for myself. And then you get the people that you never thought that you would connect. You two probably never thought that you guys would connect in this type of way.
No, it's crazy. It's crazy you say that, right? Because I can't even believe 13 years is coming up. Like I can't even, 13 years clean and sober, and all the stuff that has happened through recovery, right? To lead me to Ashley. And it's like, so we're getting together and we're finally a couple and stuff, and we just both got our backs against the wall, right? Because we're just like, who's gonna drop the shoe first, and who's gonna screw who first? That's for real. That's how it was. And why don't you tell them, because it's your story. She was on her way to Australia.
Okay. So I was moving. Okay, so I was moving to Australia. This one I had enough. I was just waiting for Jay, and my roommate in my head, right? Because this is what I was used to. I was used to being used and used to being abused, and then next, right? In that kind of sense, I was waiting. I'm like, when is the shoe going to drop, right? So in my head, I've made up this in my mind, he's going to get you. You have to get him before he gets you, right? And this is the mentality that I've always, we both have had, I think, most of my life, right? I need to protect myself so you don't hurt me. So, I've made it such a big deal of this relationship, and it's never going to work, Ashley. You're never going to be happy. Just get out, right? So I just started driving. I don't know where I was driving. I just started driving, and and he's like, I couldn't talk to him. I couldn't look at him. I couldn't anything. I'm about to I'm going towards my hometown, which is complete opposite way of the airport, right? To go. I don't know where I'm going. I just have to drive. And I'm crying and I'm yelling and I'm like, why? And so he called me and and he knew something was up. He knew something was wrong with me or whatever. And he's like, you want to talk? I'm like, no. And so he's like, okay, Ashley, call me, come in when you're ready. There was no fighting, there was no yelling, there was no name calling, there's no nothing. And it was kind of in that moment where I'm like, oh, this isn't that's not what I expected out of him, right? I was expecting this big chaotic, dynamic, thing to happen and was going to be ended, right? And he actually was actually concerned for me and wanted to know if I was okay, which is something that I had never really experienced before in my life, right? So, and then I called him back. He says 2 minutes. I'm gonna say 5 just because I want to be right. So I'm gonna say 5 minutes. And I called him back, and I was actually, for the first time ever in my whole entire life, I was actually completely vulnerable, raw, and honest with somebody about how I was feeling. And it was in that moment, for myself, that real change happened for me, for myself, for me to start actually, somebody actually believes in me.
And care about you in the sense of not wanting to hurt you, but I want to love you.
And it was in that moment where I actually learned what self-love was. Like, that was the beginning for me of my self-love. And it's been,
And that's like that's where it like changed for both
for
of us,
both
right?
of
Like
us, really.
all of a sudden we both just put our shoes on. We weren't waiting for the shoe to drop. We both,
Yeah.
we just put our and that's kind of where like we started really bonding. And about a month goes by, and I'm like, "Hey, listen, I came up with this idea. We're gonna do the recovery couple." And she's, she's like, "What?" I'm like, "Okay, no, we're gonna do this. You're gonna do it. I don't care what you say. We're going live."
Oh, God.
And it was just this thing that I had inside my mind that was like, I've always wanted it, right? Like I always wanted to have a partner that was like me, that understands me, that just wants to love me for me. And we have two beautiful stories that can go out there and break the stigma around the whole, because people would look at me and go, "You're 12 years sober. You're 13 stepping a 5-monther. What are you doing? You don't do that. You don't go after those kind of, But here's the real true deal, and here's the true ticket. Two people in recovery can actually truly be in love. Two people in recovery can really truly help each other. Two people in recovery can actually go out and help the world, because two voices are better than one voice. And the dynamics of having a female and male go into the world and share their stories. And I'm like, "Okay, let's do this. I have this idea. We're just gonna, we're gonna go back and forth, talk about our recovery. We're just gonna pick a topic. We're gonna go live. It's called the Recovery Couple. I don't know what's gonna happen. Let's go." And we started Sunday nights. And Ashley, if you ever go check out our page on Facebook, you'll see Ashley's like she never done a live before. She's like,
never, my whole entire life, like
I want to do this.
like literally, I was like this. I was like
and,
I was in and out. Like it was the most.
And she was so hiding
I was
behind
so
me.
Scared, right? I was so scared. I'm like, nobody's gonna want to hear what I have to say. Nobody's going to take me seriously, right? So it's and today, and I mean, I don't struggle.
46 lives later, we did now, right? Yeah, 46 on Sunday.
And now I'm doing podcasts, and like now it's like, and like you were saying, to normalize thing. I talk about my recovery. I talk about, recovery all day, every day, and I'm very blessed with the people I work with, and like it's just that's normal, and I'm proud of it, and so it's taken me a very long time to be okay with that, but I don't know.
But not really. So here's the thing.
Forever.
7 months, 7 months clean and sober, and I'm saying to her, "Let's go tackle the world. We're tackling the world, if you like it or not. We're going out there. I got 12 years, you got 7. And let's go. 7 months. We're going." And she's opening up to the world at 7 months. And the courageous, the belief that she had, and I'm so proud that she did that, and she believed me that, because I'm going to be honest, I truly started Recovery Couple for Ashley because I knew what would happen, because I was so open and honest about my recovery throughout the whole entire time I'd been in recovery with Chef Recovery and motivationally speaking and all the things I did. This is what's kept me sober. This is what's kept me clean is
people holding you accountable.
Yeah, the accountability of the screen, because the person looking back at me is me, right? So the accountability of getting on there and just, being vulnerable. I feel like crap today, and this is why, blah, blah, blah. And then it's gone, right? And the beautiful thing through it all is like, I was going through a real rough time with some things, Destiny being a part of her life. And I never wanted to be that guy that had girls coming in out of my kid's life. And I was trying to like disconnect myself from my ex and that whole situation. And, Ashley never got mad at me, but like, the depression and the anxiety was so bad, like in that beginning part, that it was, it like my coals, the mask was on good, but the coals, I didn't have the fire going anymore. And they're just, I was so beat up and so, tired. And then Ashley actually helped me start believing in myself again. And Ashley started helping me like relight the fire. And Ashley started getting the recovery guy back, and the positivity and the messages, and let's go out there and let's do this. And let's, we got a story, and like we got into this health and wellness thing together, and we do fitness together, and we started these things, and I started taking these supplements that have like virtually taken away my anxiety, depression for the last 6 months. And it's just, it's like,
I get it. No, I get it.
Life's a journey, bro. And
it is. It's a one day at a time process.
Absolutely.
It's just
like
it's
literally.
so,
a minute at a time.
Yeah, like on my journey, I learned how there's times to take a break from certain things because like the world is moving too fast for me, and I just slow it down. Right? It may be taking a break from social media. It may be, I do that like every weekend. I try to take a break and just like reset my clock, right? Because like social media, it could be pressure, like, oh, the post to go live. So what I tend to do is like, okay, let me create a routine for self-care, right? Like Sundays, I'm not posting anything. I might text a couple of people here and there, but Sundays is my day to recover for myself, right? From posting and creating and doing everything else, and let me just slow the world down. I might sit back and watch some Netflix, might go out for a walk in the park, might have times with the family, or I might just sit down and just like play like some video game or something like that, just to slow the world down, because it's one day at a time. When you put too much pressure on yourself, you tend to and snap, and I know how that snap is. So it's like, you know what, at least once a week, let me try to create a self-care routine, something basic that I can do, what I can control, that's not going to affect me in the world of slowing down,
100%. And that, I guess having a couple businesses and everything that I do, just, I think at the end of the day, 7 weeks or 8 weeks ago, when I said, you know what, Jay, you're 13 years clean and sober. You got to be proud of yourself. You have to be proud. You have to start just saying you're proud of yourself. And something clicked. Something finally clicked. Like, just something clicked. And ever since I said that, just like the fire came back, the excitement came back, the emotion came back, the love came back, the drive came back. Here we are in the middle of a pandemic. I'm running businesses. I'm losing money left, right, and center because restaurants are closing. And this is, I should be at my worst. Here I'm at my best, and I'm like, oh well, next, oh well, next, oh well, next. Everybody's
which is a wonderful thing.
Yeah, everybody's like, what's wrong with? I don't know. I'm happy. Leave me alone. I'm happy.
I love it.
Be happy. Is it okay to be happy? I know that's strange. Let's just be happy today. And just my fitness is on. Like Ashley and I just got personal trainers who he has like, he also is a recovering alcoholic and addict, which is kind of cool. I found him on TikTok, and you said it. You said it right at the beginning. Yeah. The universe, it's amazing what the universe brings to you when you're just putting one foot in front of the other. You never give up. You keep living the dream. You get out of your own way. You let go of control, and you let go. It delivers people like yourself into our lives. Now we have this connection, this friendship, this love for each other that nobody, people strive for that. They just want it, and they don't know how to get it. And here we are, 3 people right now talking for an hour that have all this love, right?
Yeah. Now, you know what? On that note, we're going to end this podcast because that there's no other way. You pretty much just dropped the mic, okay? But before we go, please tell people where to find you at, and how to find you and how to connect with you, because I think what you guys are doing as a duo is phenomenal. I never seen it, and I want to see more of it, and I want people to see that, like, man, okay, we can do this as a unit. So go ahead.
Yeah, so you can find us on Facebook. So we have a Facebook page called The Recovery Couple. We go live Sunday or Monday nights. So we just pick a topic and talk about recovery. You can also find us on Instagram, The Recovery Couple, or you can find me there, Chef Recovery. You can find me on TikTok. We do all kinds of stuff on TikTok. And you can also find me on Twitter, Chef Recovery. I'm out there openly and honest. You'll find me wherever you want to find me. But yes, you're right. I'm very proud that Ashley and I have been able to one day at a time break the stigma about two people being together in recovery. I think it's the most beautiful thing in the world. It's something I didn't want, and today I love every aspect of having a girl in my life that's just like me. And yeah, I'm proud.
I'm proud of you. Ashley, you have anything to say, or you good?
I'm good. I'm just thank you for the opportunity for us to come here and share and get to know you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right. Until then, guys, we'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace.
Bye.
Thank you for watching this video. I appreciate it. I know this topic can kind of be hard to talk about, but that's the goal, turn hard conversations into just conversations. So let's talk about it. Let me know how you feel down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe as well. To the next upload, y'all. Peace.